Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. I've been asked for a few times by some Americans, why do you bash the United States of America all the time? Why do you hate this country? Go back, blah, 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 blah. You have the allegiance to some others, go to Russia. Well, this is my quick answer. I love this country and I don't want to sit down and wait until it's destroyed to tell you, I told you so. Because I love it and I did something to become a US citizen. You just came out of your pussy, your mom's pussy. I did something to become one and I'm proud of that. So it was my own decision, yours wasn't. And because I love this country, I don't like when we act unjustly and hypocritically. The other ones, okay, I don't care about the other ones. Fuck them. Let's put it this way. I care about these guys first. And then, America first. Germany first. Germany first for the Germans, Romania first for the Romanians, Russia first for the Russians. America first for the Americans. So I don't care how those guys are, good or bad. I care how we are in the first place. And then we adjust to however they are based on our interest. But when we claim that we have, we are the law-abiding citizen of this planet and we like a rule-based world order, which we are going to protect and going to bring Pax Americana, and I see hypocrisy and lies and broken treaties and all that, and it's us in our name, I don't like what they're doing to us. So yes, I'm going to speak out and speak up. This is the short answer of that. So with this, starting with this one, I have a few, about 8 topics for this one. The first one, Putin is sick of Western hypocrisy. Now you can say, what? Putin is bad. Well, I don't care if Putin is bad. Is it true? Is it true? Well, that's something that angers me as well. When our enemies or our partners or our competitors see us as such, I'm thinking, okay, well, let's say we're not supposed to like Putin. Okay, this is imbecilic anyway. You like or dislike someone based on that person's actions, statements, behavior, character, all right? And you put it on a scale and you put shit here and you put qualities here and you see which way it's going. We're not all good, we're not all bad. And the same thing with everybody else. So we have this first article, first topic. The second one, we are informed by these guys who want to send you to fight the Ukraine, hot war against the Russians, that the first North Korean troops arrive in Russia's Kursk Oblast. They are deployed, ready to go. And that's provided by the Ukrainian intelligence. There's one article, this is 2 articles, 3 articles, and then Zelensky comes and tells us more about that. But it's a little contradiction between what his intelligence claims and what Zelensky states. But hey, he's one of the big liars, so what do you expect? Next one. Putin comments for the first time on presence of North Korean units in war in Ukraine. And that's going to be very clear. He's going to be very clear about it, which is we are in an alliance, legal alliance. We have a treaty signed. You, on the other hand, you don't have that with Ukraine. So, nevertheless, that's the first one. Another, the country that we are supposed to defend, they tell us, the democratic and free, light-minded, beautiful country of Ukraine with Ukrainians in charge of the Ukrainians, ban another party. Do you like your country to ban parties because you disagree with that party's platform? I thought that in a democracy, you're allowed to say what the fuck ever you want over there, as long as you don't threaten, you don't instigate to violence, and you distribute certain kind of, things. But then you can like whomever you want, and you can, form a platform and start talking about it. And if people like your platform, what you say that you're going to do and what your, your preferences are, and if you have these guys coming to you, so be it. The will of the people. No, the Ukrainians said, no, we're not going to let you. So is that democracy in Ukraine? No, it's not. And you send billions over there, not you. See, that goes to the first, how I started this video. Our government, in our name, instead of giving our children, better schools, better infrastructure, a better life, the pursuit of happiness and all that. No, they give to someone and they tell you it's because we defend Ukraine, democratically, Ukraine. First, their guy in charge is still waiting to be elected again. I know martial law, but now, nevertheless, it seems like the Rada must be the one in charge, not him. But it's not my problem. I'm just saying they cancel the elections, but they're democratic. They ban political parties, but they're democratic. They close media outlets that they didn't like, but they're democratic. They closed some religion denomination over there. They're democratic. How in the fuck is it all possible? And people still believe that. When you hear them on the TV, the CNN anchor saying, or Fox News, whomever saying that, you just turn it off. Never listen to those guys again. Come and listen to me. And always verify what I'm saying. Always verify. Unless I build trust. When I build trust, you don't have to verify. But from time to time, you do it. That's how you monitor things. You don't have to be like this. First, yeah, be like that. And when I say something stupid, call me out. Don't tell me that your shirt is unbuttoned or you're fat or, I don't know, you're stupid. And your argument is what? You don't like what I'm saying? Is it true? If it's true and you don't like it, it's your problem. Next one. The Romanians will be pushed to fight the Russians. So will the Poles and maybe the Baltic states. These guys are going to be the first baboons. The Romanians scramble F-16s again. Because why? The Russian drones violated Romanian airspace. It's not the Romanian airspace anymore. It is NATO's airspace. You'll see. Next one. Putin answers Trump's threat allegations or claims. Remember, Trump said that I threatened Putin that I'm going to hit Moscow and so on. And Putin all took a shit over there. And he was like, oh my God, lady of the night, you got to come here and fondle me a little bit. And Putin answers to that one. Then we have Putin comments on Trump's connection to Russia. Remember, these guys are trying to, Trump spoke with Putin so many times lately. Is it right? Is it legal? He's an asset, Russian asset. We're going to discuss that one. I think Putin gives a kind of like a sneaky answer. Russia sees income from frozen Western assets. So whenever you hear on the media that the Russians did this to us, it's almost always these guys did it to them first. It's almost always. First time when I saw that, it was with Obama when they fucked up with Edward Snowden. The intelligence services here, the security services, acted very unprofessionally and very dumbasses. Probably they had some 6-inch long nails fucking shit, and they were like, and they lost him. That's how Snowden got stranded in Moscow. And then these guys tried to twist, turn, and Putin and the Russians, you got to give us Snowden. And he said, Putin said, do we have any extradition treaties between our countries? And the Americans said, no, we don't need one because you're stronger, we're going to smack you. And Putin said, well, you did not want to have an extradition because our oligarchs go to your country and committed crimes and you don't want to extradite them. Why? Because they, with their tribe, are in charge of you. But hey, we're going to get, what do you mean you don't give us Snowden? That's how it started. And then what was the first thing Obama did? He closed some Russian consular activity in the west coast of the United States of America and some cultural centers. What did the Russians do? We're going to do the same thing. And they did the same thing in Moscow. And you heard how tough we were. And then we heard the Russians did this first. Just pay attention. It's a chronology of events all the time. And the initiators usually are these guys. And yeah, these are the active and the other ones are the proactive. And who's winning? Usually the proactive. If you study martial arts and Zen or the art of war, you're going to realize that you usually win by being active, not proactive. Active only when you act by surprise and you're lucky that the other guy was not ready. That's mostly when you win. The other time, the other guy has more chances to win as a reaction. Why? Because you already showed your intentions. That means these guys can, okay, I can do this. But you don't know what to do this guy. And it's going to react based on your action. You revealed your move. Like in negotiations. You reveal your move, the other guy knows how to move around. Unlike others that just wait for you to show your position. Next one. Israeli military demands removal of dead soldiers' Christian headstone. Officials have said displaying a cross in the cemetery is offensive to the relatives of Jewish troops laid to rest nearby. There is the only democracy in the Middle East, and it's our staunchest ally that we're going to support with our children's veins. Another baboonish thing. So, Mongolia screwed the ICC, International Criminal Court, by not arresting Putin. Anything happened? Anything will happen? We're going to discuss that one. I have 2 articles on that to show you at the end what will happen to Mongolia. And the last one, my friend that I like very much, Mel Gibson, not only his acting, his political and social views, I will explain, says Kamala Harris has got the IQ of a fence post. Voices support for Donald Trump. Good job. Good job, Mel. I always liked you. All right, let's start with the first topic. Russia today. Putin says he's tired of Western hypocrisy. Yeah, but he's our enemy. I don't care if he's tired. I am tired as well. Moscow hopes to end the impunity of the US and its allies, the Russian president explained. Do you think that he's lying? Do you think that he's exaggerating? Do you think he's just a bad guy, just, pretends? Or he has reasons? And I'm going to show you the first reason he mentions. Russian President Vladimir Putin has condemned the West's duplicity, correct, in its dealings with Moscow and its broader hypocrisy, saying Russia will no longer tolerate the broken promises of NATO and its allies. Speaking at the conclusion of the BRICS summit in Kazan on Thursday, Putin emphasized his dissatisfaction with West's disregard for international agreements and fairness. The Democrats like the doctrine of fairness. Where are they? In charge of this country. So the doctrine of fairness is when you like it. When you don't like it, you don't have to be fair. That's why these guys are baboons. And I'm quoting, "It is fair to lie to our faces about NATO not expanding and then expand it anyway." Is that a fact? It's a fact. So those guys, that's why in 1991, that was the first lie. And that's what the Russians said, okay, we're going to give you, Soviets said, yes, we're going to give you Eastern Germany. They can unify. Yeah, we're going to retreat our troops. I know what, if you are a baboon, you're going to say, no, what are you talking about, Emil? Soviet Union collapsed because we outspent them. Reagan outspent them. That's the reality. Well, this is why I tell you, based on what I know and how much I know, that is this much of the things that you don't know. So this is what you know, and this is how much more is to know to what you know. And if you don't like me for saying that, why don't you just Google it? Don't have to believe me, just Google it. This is how much you know. This is how much I know, and probably this is how much is there to be known. But I know like this, pretty sure, because you have this conclusion. So I know this much, you know this much, and certainly is much, much more than it's out there. Now, do I know the dynamics? I think I know the dynamics, what happened. I don't have to know the details, but I know the dynamics. I know who talked to whom and about what, and how they agreed to that. How do you think the whole Eastern Bloc just collapsed? They all realized, yes, I think it's better. It's not functional, the socialism right now. In 2 years, they all realized. And then the other guys came with the money from New York banks and bought these countries. And those guys, none of them died, but what? Ceausescu, because he didn't want to be enlightened like everybody else. So all the other ones were spared. But Ceausescu said, no, I'm not going to realize that capitalism and your democracy is good. And he was mowed down with a kangaroo court. Okay, we outspend them, little fucking argument. And I gave you just like this. I didn't give you the whole thing. But it's just to understand where to look into. I just give you a hint. All right, so that's another one in here. Putin asked, referring to the assurances given to Russia in 1990s. He also criticized the 2014 US-backed Maidan coup in Ukraine, which ousted the country's democratically elected president Viktor Yanukovych, saying it was a violation of international law. He added that it had led directly to the ongoing conflict between Kiev and Moscow. I agree with that. And I'm quoting, there is no justice here, Putin remarked. We want to change this situation and we will achieve it. And they are. Russia is not interested in perpetuating conflict, but wants fairness in global politics, Putin added, and I'm quoting, we want to change this situation and we will achieve it. Now, It doesn't mean that if Putin said that and he's right in what he's saying, it's necessary his intentions are all intellectual and philosophical, and he's a great blah blah blah. But at least so far, whatever he said is true. About that one, it's true. It's not an interpretation of the truth here. All right, let's go to the next one. Let's talk about the North Korean troops. Ukrainska Pravda, Thursday, 24th of October 2024. First, North Korean troops arrive in Russia's Kursk Oblast, Ukrainian intelligence. Now, first, I don't like any kind of country's intelligence because they have a little department, propaganda department, and not only. So they are not, immune from pushing a narrative. So they say that's a fact. It's not like could, might. It's a fact, according to Ukrainian intelligence. Now, where is Kursk? This is Ukraine. Kursk is supposedly in this oblast where the offensive right here occurred. So in Kursk, these guys say, the Ukrainian intelligence, there are North Korean troops. All right. Now, next one. First, North Korean units arrive in Russia's Kursk Oblast. This is the same shit with a different face. That's all. This is a new voice of Ukraine. So they're the same. But anyway. I just wanted to show it to you. And then the next one, Ukrinform. First North Korean units spotted on combat zone of Russia-Ukraine war. Ukraine's defense intel. This is again from yesterday. All these things were yesterday. So combat zone is located right here. This is the combat zone in Kursk. This is the combat zone. So they are in combat zone. They're ready to go, man. They're ready. And we're going to look at Zelensky's Stein and see what he's going to do one of his big lies to us. Associated Press. Ukraine Zelensky. I don't know why this is double Y, but I would say I could start a whole card. That's a Zelensky. Claims North Korean troops will be deployed by Russia in coming days. Got it? So they will be deployed, but these guys here, right there, they're spotted on the combat zone. But that means they are deployed. So make up your fucking minds. Next one. Ukrainska Pravda. Putin comments for first time on presence of North Korean units in war in Ukraine. So how is he going to argue about that? I mean, obviously that's a different country, right? For the first time, Kremlin leader, oh, he's not a dictator today. Vladimir Putin has commented on reports that North Korean troops are being sent to Russia to take part in the war against Ukraine. The question was asked by journalists. Remember, American journalists were allowed to ask Putin questions at the BRICS summit, at the press conference. The Westerns. Biden did not allow, or the White House, allowed the Russian press to ask him questions. Why is that? Because we are democratic. We are more free than the Russians. I mean, wake the fuck up. So, no, but the Russians are the bad ones, we are the good ones. Putin said, yeah, let the Western media ask me questions, even if they will ask it in a very rude way, not in a pushing way. No, in a rude way. I heard them, in a rude way. But the Americans banned the Russian media asking their officials. So who's more free? Who's more free? Just by example. Don't give me, I don't want to hear that. I want evidence, motherfuckers. Evidence. They poisoned those guys in London. Most likely, that was the outcome of a London court. It was not, yes, that's the evidence. Most likely. Do you want to be arrested for most likely? No, that's not beyond any reasonable doubt. That's the level you have to, the threshold. That's 99%. Most likely fucks the neighbor. That's not evidence right there, unless you say he is and you provide the evidence. So the question was asked by a journalist from the US television company NBC. You see, he was allowed to do that in BRICS, in Kazan. He said that satellite images showed, according to the Americans, which are not Russia's friends, the presence of North Korean military. And I'm quoting, what are they doing there? The journalist asked, and isn't this a serious escalation of the conflict? This is what Putin said. Putin once again claimed that it was not Russia's actions that led to the escalation and accused Western countries of helping Ukraine fight. You think that's true or that's a lie? Okay, if you think that's a lie, I will tell you why that's true. If the West would have not sent anything to Ukraine, Istanbul negotiations would have been over and everything over there would be over. But NATO and the West said, no, we're going to give you everything. So who escalated? You can say, well, the Russians invaded. NATO had weapons and CIA bases in Ukraine. And it's a violation of the Ukraine's neutrality, remember? Ukraine was supposed to be a neutral country. At every argument these guys gave you as fact, they lied. Not everybody, most. Remember 1994? The Budapest Memorandum that says, as international law, right there, that Ukraine will be a neutral country. That's why it gave away its, it didn't give away, it was taken from them, their nuclear weapons. That's how it was, dictated by the Russians and the Americans. That's how it was. And then everything that's changed was 2008 summit, NATO summit in Bucharest, when the baboon George W. Bush said, and Putin was in Bucharest at that time, he said, one day Georgia and Ukraine will be part of NATO. What the fuck are you talking about? You said it's neutral in 1994. Remember when I said about the hypocrisy? Again, it's like reading the Bible. It's black on white, and that's it. You can't move. I mean, it's there. It's there. Noah lived 900 years. You can't say, well, the years were counted differently, because before that, in some verses before, Yahweh, their God, not the European God, their tribal God, that the baboon, the Hindu, whatever, he said, no, I'm going to limit the human being's life to 120. Why? Because the angels were fucking the human women. That was the whole point, and he didn't like the giants coming over. That's according to the Bible, the Old Testament. So God limited to 120, but then Noah lived 900 years. So don't give me it's a different kind of counting the names. Or maybe because he was holy. Holy. You know what I mean. All right. So that's the escalation happened in 2014 when these guys, with the help of these guys and some traitors in Ukraine, overthrew a legitimate democratically elected government of Ukraine, Viktor Yanukovych. True? True. Next one. The Russian leaders recall that the State Duma has ratified, this is an argument, the Comprehensive Strategic Partnership agreement with North Korea signed by Putin in Pyongyang this summer. This document provides for, and this is the key, mutual assistance in the event of aggression against one of its participants. So here, this is an aggression. This is Kursk invasion. It's an aggression. Okay, so when Putin says, where is that at? When Putin says mutual assistance against the State Duma is the lower, we will see how this process develops, Putin added. Any more questions, imbecile? Any more question? NBC, whatever it was. No, he said, we have this mutual agreement and you invaded with the help of NATO, you're escalating. Remember, 2014, that was the escalation. You invaded my country, so we were attacked. Under our agreement, they came to, and we'll see how things develop. You don't have that kind of agreement with Ukraine. Once you have it, we can strike you. And you don't want that because you're courageous and you like to fight your war against us with other people's husbands, parents, children. Now that's a crime. Real bad. But hey, we are the good. All right, next one. Let's look at the democratic Ukraine. New Voice of Ukraine. Another pro-Russian party banned in Ukraine. And these guys are advertising it like there's nothing. I guarantee you in all this little short article here, all right, which is 2 paragraphs, you will not hear anything like, hey, democracy, freedom of speech is under threat, the freedom of the press, political party. You're not going to hear anything right here. Overtly pro-Russian political party, the Slavic Party, Slavic is not only Russian, has been banned in Ukraine through a court ruling. So the court said democracy, fuck it. The 8 administrative the assets, funds and other property of the party, including its regional, municipal, district organizations and primary cells, have been transferred into state ownership. So that means, let's say tomorrow, I'm just gonna, Kamala Harris or whomever decides that the Republican Party, but it's not the same here, these guys are on the same boat, but I'm just playing like dumb, full retard for a little bit. I'm not going to be half retard, I'm going to play full retard. So let's say Kamala Harris, who's in charge, and let's say the Democratic Party determine that the Republican Party is pro-Russian. And they are, working because Trump is pro-Russian. Trump is the poster boy of Republican Party. Therefore, they will, based on being overtly pro-Putin, he speaks with Putin, right? The Putin dossier and Russia interference and all that. Remember all that? From the Democrats. That means they could designate the Republican Party as a pro-party, and you have a judge appointed by whomever, right? Democrats or Republicans. Now, I have to stay full retard. From whomever, all right, appointed is going to designate the Republican Party as outlawed. And going to be uniparty system. Hey, isn't that great? No, it's not. And these guys are celebrating. How many other parties were banned? Like 12? I thought that in a democracy you can say things, you can promote things, and the public likes your message or not. The same in the marketplace of ideas. You don't like what I'm saying, fucking open a channel or 2 or 3 and say what you think is true, or comment on my thing and bring me evidence, and you help me. Every time people comment and say, "Hey, Emil, yeah, but you take that into consideration. Do you know that?" That helped me. Thank you very much. Criticism, telling me that I forgot something, or hey, do you think about that? Help me enhance my knowledge, my view, and I always thank that. But if someone says, "Hey, your cock looks small or not playful enough," what am I supposed to do? Go inject it? What's the method? Use the Swedish pump? Is that what it was in in Austin Powers? That's not mine. Yeah, all right, whatever it is. So don't bring this kind of imbecilic or you're short or hairy or whatever you are. No, help me. Because by helping me, you help yourself as well. Just help yourself. All right, so let's go to the next article. Let's see how the Romanians are going to be pushed to fight Russia. Why? Because Mark Rutte, the current Secretary General of NATO, the Dutch guy who, according to the former Romanian President Traian Băsescu, hates, is an enemy, that's the words, and an enemy of Romania. I made a video 2 weeks ago about that. Go and watch it. He is the enemy of Romania. What do you think? He's going to care about you, baboon Romanians? Is he going to care about you? They're going to send you to war like this guy sent the Ukrainians to fight the Russians. And some baboons will go to fight the Russians because they think that the Russians caused so much harm to Romania. Why? They conflate Russia with Soviet Union because the guys who wrote our history and our curriculum in school when I was in Romania were like this: you gotta hate the Russians. Not the guys in charge of Soviet Union who are not Russians. Because they are the same guys writing your history. Fucking idiots. All right, let's move on. Ukrinform. Romanian F-16s scramble amid Russia's missile drone attack on Ukraine. In Romania, in the early hours of Thursday, October 24th, 2 F-16 fighters took to the sky after radars recorded 2 separate signals, likely coming from drones that violated the country's airspace. How did you know they were not Ukrainian drones provoking you and pushing you towards war? How do you know it was not NATO drones? Yeah, exactly, NATO. How do you know that? Both signals were detected by radar less than 1 hour apart over the southern counties of Constanța and Tulcea, the later bordering Ukraine across the Danube River. They're saying whether they were Russians? Not yet. We'll see. The F-16s, Romanian Defense said in a statement the pilots never made visual contact with either before radars lost both signals. And now they're going to tell us Ciolacu. Okay, fuck yeah, Ciolacu. Romania shares, right here. As Ukrinform reported earlier, Romania scrambled 4 jets on Saturday, October 19, due to a violation of airspace by a Russian drone. How do you know it was a Russian drone? You see it beep, 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 beep. That's all you see. Where did it occur? It said Constanța and Tulcea. Let me show you where those are located. I'm not saying it's not impossible. It's possible. What are you going to do? Fight Russia? All right, here it is. This is Tulcea, probably County, and Constanța is down here. So here we're talking about this and this area. So the drones were in this area by the Danube River right here, flowing into the Black Sea. Imagine that the American drones, CIA drones, enter, let's say, Afghanistan, and then they shoot a person over there that this guy is identified as a bad dude. Should the Taliban scramble their F-16s over there? The Americans do this continuously. They have illegal troops in Syria. I'm talking about the Americans. Illegal, about 800 troops. Sucking, not that, the oil of the Syrian people from the northeast of Syria. Illegally. That's a violation. So when I hear these kind of things, I'm like, what am I supposed to do? Say, yeah, I condemn that. The other guys are way ahead of everybody else in doing this. Are you going to hit Russia? Yeah, with Romanian lives. That's what's going to happen. You'll see. You'll see. You'll see. All right, let's go to the next one. Next one is about Putin doesn't remember something, and which is the Donald Trump's missile threats. Comments made in the heat of the US election campaign shouldn't be taken too seriously, the Russian president has said. What does that mean? So he says he doesn't remember such a conversation. He says, and I'm going to quote, "I don't remember such a conversation with Mr. Trump." Mr. Trump, not Trump, Mr. Trump. The Russian president said, "The US presidential campaign is currently at such a heated a stage, I would suggest not to take anyone's statements too seriously." What does it mean? Is it possible that a conversation occurred? Yeah, it's possible. Is it possible that Putin backed down? It's possible. It's possible. All that is possible. A lot of things are possible. Is it true that I had sex with Kate Middleton? It's possible. Is it probable? Psst, no. You know what I mean? There's always a chance. Like, remember the Dumb and Dumber? Do you think I have a chance? I think 1 in a million or something. Oh, yes, I have a chance. 1 in a million, but you have a chance. That's the way. So yes, it's possible. But it's not probable. So the same. Now, I think Putin here, let's say it occurred like that. Obviously, he's not going to say, yes, he said it and I just chickened out and went to my safe space and fondled my pussy. He was not going to say that, right? So he's going to say, I don't remember. No, I think it didn't happen the way Trump says, and this guy is protecting Trump. Instead of saying, no, it's not true, he's an idiot. Or yes, he did it. And you know what I did? I told him I'm going to fuck him up. Now, this guy shows more diplomacy than the other guys. But look how smoothly Putin saves Trump's face. He says, well, don't believe what Mr. Trump is. They have a campaign over there. That means it's just an exaggeration. Even if it happened, he's smooth. He said, don't believe everything. It's just heated campaign over there. And he avoids saying, no, it never happened. I said, I don't remember. I don't think he doesn't remember. You don't remember that? You remember, you want to forget about it. So if it happened, he doesn't want to remember, or he just avoids and say, he doesn't say Trump is lying. And he doesn't say Trump is true. I don't remember. It's another thing when you get investigated, just so you know, a little tip. When you get investigated, don't deny things. Sometimes you deny, but don't deny. First, don't talk to whomever investigates you without a lawyer. Never. Don't do that. All right? And the other one, when you don't want to answer a question or you want to lie, don't lie. Say, I don't remember. And I tell you why. Because you always can remember later. And when you see how the wind blows, what the dynamics are, then you say, dude, I say this. I remember all of a sudden this, and it's going to end this, and what if I remember? And then you say, yeah, you know what, I remember. They're going to say, well, it's strange that you now remember. Fuck off. You don't know if I remember or not. You can't prove that. I just remember. This is my statement. And they have to take your statement as, a statement. So just say, I don't remember. Have you fucked a neighbor? I don't remember. All right, let's go to, it doesn't work. With that, that's not a good advice. Because I don't know. Oh, fuck. Let's go to the next one. Putin comments on Trump's connection to Russia. I think here, Trump, Putin shows his skills. And all allegations about the Russian presidential candidate's ties with Moscow have already been put to rest, the Russian president has said. I don't think so. But anyway, allegations like ties. He's talking about the dossier. Russia, that looks exactly with my channel's picture. Have you seen my channel's picture? The profile pictures, whatever. That's me. Russian President Vladimir Putin has denied media reports claiming that he has maintained contact with Russian candidate Donald Trump. I don't think he denies. So the claims are that he maintained contact with Republican Donald Trump after he left office. This is the allegations, remember. And he says, last week, a book by American journalist Bob Woodward hit the stands, which alleged that the former president had secretly spoken to Putin 7 times since the end of his term in office in 2021. Now, this is what Putin says. This issue has been making headlines for years now. At one point, he switched. Mr. Trump and Russia were accused of being connected. That's something in the past, Putin said. However, after an investigation conducted in the United States, everyone, including the US Congress, concluded that it was utter nonsense and that nothing of this kind have ever happened. Remember, he was talking about the Russia gate and then, not the allegations, the talking. And he pointed out, there were no contacts back then. And they are none now. They didn't ask you if it's now. They asked you if in the past 2 years. Not now. So you see, he said, they are not now. Of course not, because you're talking right now with us. That word now, he denies they are right now or today. He doesn't say, no, we didn't speak. This is a statement that denies that. I did not speak with Mr. Trump at all, zero, after Mr. Trump left office. That would be a denial. What he said here? No, they didn't deny. He denies that now there's no contact. And then during the investigation, there was no connection. But in between, that's about 3 years to 4. Easy. Thank you very much, Mr. Putin. You're not an imbecile. I always knew that, but nevertheless, let's move on. You're trained and smart. Russia Today. I mean, how can you, or a weasel, however you want to look at it, you use whatever euphemism you want. Russia to seize income from frozen Western assets. Finance Minister. Remember, when you're going to hear that, that's how I started, that Russia is hurting us and so on, we did it first, most likely, like the London court. And I'm talking about 99%. Most likely we did first, but you don't remember that because the media will not remind you. And in their little articles they will write, oh my God, we are under attack, they will not mention. But you can find it. But if you're like me, reading the media, and you don't have the time or maybe the mood, or, to read all these things, you get it. And if you have a good memory, you memorize things. And then you hear these guys, the Russians froze our assets. Who did it first? That's exactly what they base their accusations on, you not knowing or forgetting. But some people have elephant memory. The move will be a minor response, that's the correct word, to the actions by the US and its allies, according to Anton Siluanov. Russia will respond in kind to the West's use of the income generated by its frozen central bank reserves. The US and its allies have blocked an estimated $300 billion in assets belonging to the Russian central bank since the escalation of the Ukraine conflict in February 2022. The bulk of the fund, around 197 billion euros, which is $213 billion. We're talking about billions, my friends, not millions, billions, are being held in the Brussels-based clearinghouse Euroclear. On Wednesday, Washington announced a decision to use the proceeds from the frozen assets to repay a multi-billion-dollar loan to Kiev. You understand? And I'm quoting, if Western countries have begun utilizing the income from the frozen Russian reserves, we will do exactly the same. We have frozen money from unfriendly companies and organizations. Now, if those organizations and unfriendly companies are Western banks or international banks, they will hit the head of the Hydra. They will stab in the heart. We keep this money in our accounts in the same way, and we will use the income from these assets similarly. Right? You got it? US said on Wednesday that it will provide, so it was Wednesday. Who threw the first stone? US. The US said it will provide Kiev with $20 billion loan as part of a broader $50 billion G7 package. The use of windfall profits from the blocked Russian assets will provide Ukraine with assistance with without burning taxpayers. What are you talking about? And a day earlier, the European Parliament backed allocating a loan of 35 billion euros, which is $38 billion, for Kiev using the immobilized Russian assets as collateral for repayments. All right, and it says, according to Euroclear, the frozen funds has generated 3.4 billion euros, $3.6 billion in interest as of mid-July. So remember, when these guys are going to cry and want you to get angry with the Russians, remember, they did it first to those guys. And if you think because they invaded, go to 2014, go to 2008, go to 1994, go to 1991. And you have the answer. Don't cry for me, Argentina, all right? You know I never left you or whatever. All right, let's move. Here, Russia Today. Israeli military demands removal of dead soldiers' Christian headstone. Did you know that from CNN? Officials have said displaying a cross in a cemetery is offensive to the relatives of Jewish troops laid to rest nearby. The Israel Defense Forces has threatened to rebury a fallen Christian soldier unless his family agrees to remove a cross from his gravestone. The man's relatives have told local media. But hey, they are the democracies, our staunch allies, and all this jerk off. David Bogdanovsky moved to Israel from Ukraine in 2014 and was killed by an anti-tank rocket in Gaza last December. Bogdanovsky's family told the media on Monday that they had received a letter from the Defense Ministry demanding that they remove the cross or have their staff sergeants remain reinterred outside the Haifa military cemetery. But hey, freedom of there's not a Jewish state. It's not what these guys are talking about, apartheid and all that. No, that's a lie. By law, it is not permissible to place a cross or any other religious markers on a military headstone. Can you put the Star of David? The letter reported citing a ruling by the IDF chief rabbi saying the holiness of the Jewish cemetery is violated by the presence of a cross. Military officials also reported claims that they had received complaints from families whose loved ones are buried nearby and who claim that the cross hurts their feelings and their ability to pray. All right. Bogdanovsky's mother told Inet that when she visited her son's grave earlier this month, she found his gravestone covered in black cloth. Ready? That's it, my friends. And here, I thought that my David who gave his life and so on. It's not an apartheid whatsoever. It's not an ethnic state either. It's not the Jewish state only. It's just like America. It's a democracy, freedom of speech and all that. Just because some people dress like you, it doesn't mean they are like you. Just because I'm not referring to those guys over there. Just because you have a baboon wearing a suit, doesn't mean he's a gentleman. Or just like you or I. All right, let's move on. I brought this article just so you have a little bit of flavor. Let's see what happened to Mongolia. Ukrainska Pravda. Mongolia breached obligations by not arresting Putin. And what happened? Associate Agency France Press. Mongolia failed to cooperate in Putin arrest. International Criminal Court. And at the end says this. Past instances of ICC members failing to execute arrest warrants have had little consequences beyond verbal dressing downs. How are you going to enforce it? With sanctions? So, Putin did not visit South Africa or Brazil when they had the BRICS and the G20s or whatever they had, or Malaysia or whatever it was, not because he was afraid that these guys are going to arrest him. I guarantee you he was not afraid of that. I guarantee you. He was afraid that the trip is too long and an airplane can be shot down during that long trip. You know what I mean? The Bermuda Triangle, if you would have gone to Brazil, a little bit like that, and so on. All right, let's see what my friend Mel Gibson has to say. Mel Gibson says Kamala Harris has got the IQ of a fence post, end quote. Voices support for Donald Trump. Big mouth. Yeah. Look at this guy, man. All right. I felt so embarrassed when I listened to that tape when he was begging that Russian whore for a blowjob. It was embarrassing, Mel. I cried my heart for you over there. Oh, what the hell, man? A lot of women will stay in line to do that to anyone, that big-lipped, ugly motherfucker Russian. Oh my God. Kamala Harris has decidedly proven to be the more popular... Okay, fuck off. He said, Mel Gibson, he said that I don't think it's going to surprise anyone who I vote for, Gibson said. The cameraman, after some thought, answered with, I'm gonna guess Trump. Is that a bad guess? I think that's a pretty good guess, Gibson responded. And I'm quoting, I know what it's like. I know what I'll be like if we let her in, and that ain't good. Miserable track record, no policies to speak of. She's got the IQ of a fence post. I agree with that. And she doesn't have knowledge of geopolitical knowledge. I mean, she got like doggy style knowledge and all that. I guarantee you that. Well, that's her life. I mean, she's good at something at least, right? Not even at speaking. All right, maybe. So yes, Mel Gibson. Remember, he made some statements. His father made her statements first about some camps from the Second World War, and then Mel Gibson was drunk one day. I mean, he was drunk many days, but one of them was stopped by a police officer in Malibu, remember, California, and he started talking about the owners of Hollywood and fuck that, and then he lost Hollywood access. Why? Because it's not owned by those guys. No. It's just decent people will just push you to the side as an outcast if you touch that subject. Remember? And then he said many things, and then he came with the Passion of the Christ. This guy did not want to put his movie into the system of the theaters in the United States of America until he censored something true from the Bible. They want to say, his blood be on us and our children's children. All right, it's in the Bible. I think I can't remember, Mark or Luke, whatever it was over there, one of the, okay. And until he removed that, they will not want to put it over there. And he make what? I can't remember how many, $200 million profits. He put his money in, and he's got so much profit that they had to let it go. So they let the movie go. I watched the movie. Personally, I thought it was too much, but it was Mel Gibson, the director. All right, my friends, here it is. I like Mel Gibson, and he said some things about, you can watch it on YouTube, talks about who's in Hollywood. That's a creepy freaking video. Talks about, you have to keep your, he said, if you imagine this, it's much more than even if you can imagine what's going on to the Hollywood parties and the connections and how you get a job and so on. And that's the least of it. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.